All right, guys. This is Splitgate Architects podcast number 3. We haven't done this in a while. We've been kind of just waiting for actual feature updates, but it just hasn't came yet. But yeah, I'm Phoenix, the founder of Splitgate Architects.
I'm
Yergi,
Yuri, just one of the map builders here.
and then
Hey,
for our
I'm Zach.
special guest is ZachsMaxed. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey, I'm Zach. I played in Splitgate 1's SPS Pro Series. I've been a pretty active member of Splitgate 2 and their comp scene, but also content creation, and happy to be here.
Heck yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah,
Happy to have you, man.
Yeah, I think this
Mhm.
is I believe this is the first time we had ourselves like kind of like a pro on the
Yeah.
podcast. So we
Yeah,
got
I'm pretty sure,
some
yeah.
I got some questions planned ahead of time. That's all about the whole competitive side of Splitgate that we haven't really got to see on this podcast before. But I guess for now, like Zach Mass, why don't you go introduce yourself? Like, what makes you? What do you do for the Splitgate community? Like, what's your involvement with it?
So I've done a ton of different things over the years, right? So I'll start back when I joined the game in late 2021. I was more casual, slowly got into the more ranked scene and competitive scene, worked my way up into tournaments. I actually got an internship with them for a while, so I was a big part of the community
Oh,
team and streamer outreach. I did a bit of quality assurance because I got pretty good at finding bugs. Then went into SPS as both a player briefly and a coach. And then going into Splitgate 2, I was more focused on the competitive side of things and kind of like streaming that aspect. But yeah, I've just kind of been everywhere.
how did you found your like Splitgate, like the game itself? Like, do you like randomly
So
found it across through like a friend or?
this is gonna be funny. I saw an iFunny post about it, and this is like way, way back when it was probably early alpha stages, and I was on an Xbox at the time, right? I didn't have a PC, so the first time I played Splitgate was when I got a laptop for a laptop scholarship with my school, and I'm like, damn, I can play PC games now. I still distinctly remember starting Apex Legends and overheating it because I left the laptop on my bed
Oh
and I tried to
God.
play it in bed. The good times, man. But yeah, no, that's what got me started on Splitgate specifically, like when that fall semester died down of my first year of college.
You said you found like a iFunny article? What is that?
So iFunny was an old social media platform. If you know it, you know it.
Memes, yep.
Part of
Oh,
the
it's for
ship, part of the crew.
memes.
Oh yeah, it was an old app where basically just anyone could post memes and they were some of the most just chaotic, sometimes raunchy memes you could find, but you could find some gold in there. Like some of the best memes ever created, you'd find there.
Do
It
you
was definitely
remember?
unhinged.
Do you remember
Yeah.
what the meme was about?
It wasn't a meme, it was just gameplay cut out, because at the end of the day, it is a social media, so
Yeah,
people would post stuff that wasn't necessarily a meme, but it was just so interesting because Portal was probably my favorite game of all time. I got into Splitgate less so for the Halo, more so for the Portal, because I just love that 3D approach to games. I say 3D, or maybe like more spatially oriented rather than I'm just running through hallways on scripted paths.
How did you find the game, Yergi?
Me, it was just through someone making a YouTube video about it. I had been playing MCC at the time because I gave up on Halo Infinite, and I was just looking for a new arena shooter to play. I saw the Portals, and I fell in love. Just simple as that.
Yeah, I randomly came across it. King and Juice here, can vouch. He was streaming it on Twitch, and I was checking it out, and I thought at first it was like a paid game, so I was like, I'm not gonna buy it, so it's
Yeah,
whatever. And then I found out it's free to play. I was like, oh shit, let me just install this real quick then and try
right.
it
It's
out.
free. Why
Yeah,
not?
but yeah, that was back in saw Real Warfare days, like before season 2 even happened for that. Like it was right before season 2 was when I got into the game.
I
So
think that
Nice.
makes you earlier than me. Oh wait, are you talking like post console?
pre-console. So this was like
Yeah.
I got my hands on the actual pistol carbine for like maybe like a week before they actually
Okay,
changed it to
so then
carbine.
you're more OG than I am.
Gotcha.
I came out when the map loading screen was lava well.
Mm.
So
So
yeah,
I
that was season
yeah,
3 then. Yeah,
indeed, yeah,
that was a go this
Nice.
season by the way.
it was peak.
A lot of content during that time.
Mhm.
So what are your achievements that you would say that you're proud of within like Splitgate or Splitgate 2?
So kind of going from top to bottom, I would say getting back into the top 8 for the SBS Grand Finals with my challengers team was a big one for me,
Hell yeah.
especially kind of like falling out with the skill level, then getting back to coaching and really grinding my way back up. So that's up there. You know, even getting to the point where I could compete and coach was great. Mind you, that was like I was playing for what 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, and then coaching for two. It was a grind for sure. Uh, a lot of the videos got a lot of viewership, specifically on TikTok, so I'm pretty proud of that. I won't say they always have the most positive reception because I tend to be fairly polarizing in my portal usage. Well, some people
Yeah.
consider it excessive or game breaking, but you know, unfortunately, rage bait content sells,
Oh
so I
man,
can keep that going.
you're gonna ruin it for the casuals, man. Oh no.
Yeah,
I
I do
mean,
Like
also
those kind of
consider myself.
comments.
Yeah, I do consider myself an advocate for casual players though, because I understand the long-term implications of all of these balance decisions, and I try to pitch stuff that will actively make the game healthier. Portal blocking has been a great example of stuff. I don't know if you've seen Jack of all trades video where I kind of outlined
yep.
most of the problems of the game and how
Hmm.
they would be fixed. I do
Uh,
think we are moving in that direction, so that's good to hear.
I did not know you
I
made a
feel
video
like
on
when
that. Sorry, go on.
well, oh, I was just gonna say, I feel like whenever I've gotten into a discussion about balancing, Zach, your opinion has always been probably the most spot on that I've heard on anything. To be honest, you're normally thinking it about both the competitive and the casual side, not just from one angle, which is always refreshing to hear. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you always have something to say.
Yeah.
You're one of the more vocal points I say within the community.
Yeah.
I will say my pushback against portal cooldowns was probably a little excessive, but at the same time, it just damages game flow so much. Like, it helps new player acquisition, don't get me wrong, but those are the players who don't engage with it in the first place. So what we're
Mhm.
doing is we're like, that guy has a balloon and I don't like that. So we're like, you get less balloon. So the other guy is happy, but he didn't gain anything from it. He just like, I don't like this demographic. And they're like, so the portal cooldowns is functionally screw that demographic. Let's, you know, drive it more here. But all of the like rapid triple portals and insta kills don't really get fixed. So the big thing I always said is the
Yeah.
last portal you see is the one that defines your experience, right? Because there are players who will get frustrated if I put a single portal down, not even a triple portal, and flank them, right? Because they're like, I couldn't have predicted that. I wasn't ready. I couldn't have flicked behind me. I'm on controller with too low sense. You know,
Mhm.
obviously the triple portals and stuff can get excessive at times, but those players don't see that. They don't interact with it whatsoever. And a lot of those players are also not the players who really predict where players are routing. I don't know if you've noticed this with Splitgate maps, but it kind of deviates from three-lane map design where you can actually go from one lane that's far away to another lane.
Mhm.
So it's
You
not like we're interfering with that.
Yeah, a lot of times with level design, although you're still designing it with the classic three-lane theory in mind,
Hmm.
you're having to think about more game flow instead of just
Hmm.
straight three lanes. You need to think about how people are going to be flowing throughout
Yeah.
that map. It makes a big difference in how you're actually designing and playing maps.
So the big question is, we have a group of players who don't engage with that mechanic, so now they can't counter the flow because they don't use it themselves.
Yep.
Mhm.
And as a designer, I can add all of these checks and balances to make sure, hey, this has counterplay, but if you refuse to use the counterplay, what can I do? Right?
And I feel like this segues into one of the questions we got. What can Splitgate possibly do to help players, new players coming in, to get more used to the portaling
I,
mechanic?
I would think that maybe they just gotta actually have a legitimate like tutorial, like teaching
Mhm.
players like
Yep.
the core mechanics, like what you can possibly do with the portals.
And what I would say to that, what a lot of old games used to do is they would have like either a short campaign, some sort of PvE mode that allows new players to play against AIs for just to have fun still, and then they can practice mechanics on their own time. They're not forced into these high level skill matchups where it's either you sink or swim. And
So
that's where that's kind of where I'm at least.
I just thought of a very neat idea that maybe they could have done is that maybe there was like some kind of like tutorial game mode where like it's more like there's like lists of challenges and basically it like it's asking you like hey let's get from point A to point B within a certain set amount of portals or something like that. So then it teaches the players to like actually have to look around what they can do with the portals, how they place them, how they can move through them to get around. And I think that will can help a little bit for at least teaching the players to get around.
So I want to clarify a few things and propose what I've really been pushing for. So first of
Okay.
all, I agree with campaign. Campaign doesn't really make sense for a free-to-play title, especially
Yeah.
with the amount of money that you would have to put in and the
Yeah.
deadline that they really have to hit with relaunch. That being said, I 100% agree that some level of single-player experience is necessary to really facilitate this education, and what I am pushing for is Portal-esque test chambers, right? So, I present no combat, just movement and spatial reasoning. So this is actually kind of a call to action on the behalf of map builders, because you can do this right now if you have a TDM set to 1 kill and you have a bot spawn with no weapons at the end of the level, or something where they can't route out, and you just have the player move all the way there, pick up a BFB and whack them, right? But just teaching these mechanics in a controlled environment where there's no time pressure and there's no external pressure from other players, and then you slowly work them up, teaching this mechanic, but also how to counter other people doing stuff.
So I would say that we've already had some people make stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it doesn't get pushed to the players it needs to get pushed to because
Mm,
those casuals people aren't going into the custom lobbies and stuff and looking for that stuff. So the you need something from the official Splitgate to then
I
get
agree.
pushed to the new players that they can then mess around with.
Let me rephrase that a little bit. I would love to see concepts from you. That way I can push that to 1047 and try and get
There we
more
go.
eyes on that. I agree that it needs to be integrated in game first and foremost. To a degree, I almost think it should be a tutorial. You don't want to gatekeep like multiplayer gameplay,
Yep.
but either have a cosmetic or something appealing after the fact, a badge.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
why should I complete this? It's to make sure you're ready and can keep up with everyone else.
You could even yeah, there's some stupid rewards that you can give people just for completing tutorials, and even then you could have it as just training that people can go back to, and that can become a whole community like the race community was too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they
Big
could
agree.
maybe they could reward a decent solid amount of XP even for the level progression during the tutorial.
I mean, I don't know what their progression system's gonna look like, truthfully.
Right
I don't
now,
know if it's still weapon oriented.
right now it's very lackluster. It needs some work.
Mm, I agree. I don't think XP is the way to do it, though. Something I can flex and other people can see, I guess. Hence why I lean more towards cosmetic or badge or something maybe I look at more myself, like a weapons. I mean, I guess that goes back to cosmetic as well.
Yep. You like a badge or some sort of cosmetic to show off like pre-game lobby during the game to be like, hey, this is the amount of time I put into playing and reach this
An emote
level.
wouldn't be a bad idea, actually, because everybody loves emotes, and the emotes are typically hard to get. You
Yep.
either get them exclusively through the battle pass, and you don't really see them in the shop. So having an emote exclusive to that would be very, very interesting.
Yeah, you could add in like a prestige system where you reach that prestige and you get this reward for that prestige, and that just keeps people wanting to constantly play. What that prestige actually does besides giving you that reward, nothing, but
Mhm.
it keeps people interested.
Of course,
Actually, I really like the idea of prestiges now that you mention it, specifically
Yeah.
for weapons,
Yeah.
because I feel like once I hit that cap, there's not much to do.
Yeah.
I'll pitch that to them. That's a good idea.
Yeah, no, I for especially if you're gonna have the weapons where you do attachments and stuff and you're keeping the class system, prestiges are just a part of what keeps stuff fresh and keeps you wanting to progress stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, I love it. I'll pitch it.
Oh yeah. Oh,
does
yeah.
anyone even find the whole? Oh yeah, you have to slide or crouch like fun for the weapon camels.
Oh,
So,
the sliding or crouching
mm,
I feel like
challenges.
I feel like that's a very random way to do it.
so I'm
It's
gonna
just
tell you how I approach it. I consider it the crab max approach. So it's fun for me, mind you, because I'm kind of masochistic in a way, but I crouch the entire game. So I am not allowed to stand up the entire game, so I can
Oh
only
man.
portal, and then if I need to walk, I can't slide. No, I have to crouch walk all the way down,
I was
or triple portal.
I was gonna say the only way to actually do it in natural gameplay is in slides, or else just
Mhm.
crouching in Splitgate, you're leaving yourself exposed a lot of the times.
Yeah, I feel like by the time I got to those camels, uh, objectives were like they were asking me to crouch and slide. I was like, I can't be bothered. I'm not doing this.
I would
maybe
argue
maybe
that the
some other
harder
time.
one is shooting through portals and getting kills through portals, which
Yeah.
feels like it's very bypass exclusive, but you're at a massive disadvantage right now on live with shooting through portals. So after the first, relaunch playtest, I was talking to Ian, and one of the things that they said, you know how you get beamed out of portals right now, right?
Hmm.
So there's a netcode bug where it doesn't update player position properly for enemies through portals. So what's happening is you're standing right in front of your portal, even though you ran around the corner. So it's not the bullet sizes are big, your player
It,
position isn't being updated properly. So that's why people are getting full clips on you.
Oh,
And it's like
really?
you're shooting
that
the, yeah.
explains.
What the
No,
It's
heck?
all
I
fixed in the new tests. That's all
there have been
fixed.
so many times
Mhm.
where I would get through my portal and like your instinct is you're being shot at and you still want to use your portal, so go around the corner, wait, and then you'll be fine. But you go around the corner, you wait, and then you die. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay,
And the
that's
bad
fun.
part about this is it's
Yeah.
not consistent whatsoever, so it's damn near impossible to play around. It's
Yeah,
just, do I get RNG diffed or not? But it's all fixed again, so they
good.
did an
Oh,
optimization
that's
to
good.
make that
That's
better.
great. I would like to actually play with that a bit to see how it
So
feels.
that was in the very first playtest. So if you've
Oh,
played
that
any of them,
was
yeah, no, you've
okay.
already played with it.
We've gotten a lot of feedback about, oh, I'm getting shot through portals like left and right. It feels like the bullets are giant or something. This was actually a bug that was pretty low level with networking optimizations. Anyway, we have fixed that bug. So no longer will it be the case where you are standing behind a portal and you're 5 feet to the left and somehow getting shot through your own portal. So it should feel 1,000 times better. And there's all sorts of other optimizations and polish and bug fixing happening behind the scenes. But a lot of good stuff. But those are the highlights, and we're excited to get everybody's feedback. And yeah, just feeling really good about relaunch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I only played the first one, so I haven't had a
Mhm.
chance to even play with the it's the Portal aim assist,
Mhm.
which I really would like to try out, see how that feels.
Yeah, the tweak to
Mhm.
portal aim assist was from the latest playtest with
Yeah.
Abyss in it.
Yeah.
I think also there was a like you were able to shoot a portal kind of off of the wall and it would snap to like portal aim assist. Like you would shoot maybe not directly at it, but it would still pull it in.
Yeah, so we've always
then-
had portal aim assists, both in Splitgate 1 and Splitgate 2. But we did make a change for this build, so we increased it by like a lot. So it's a lot more noticeable now.
Interesting.
Basically, it was just one of those things where it's like, you know what, let's just change this value a ton and just see what it happens. And then we started testing it internally. It was like, wait a sec, like this actually feels really good. Curious your thoughts on that, Kaz. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I liked it. Even if I wasn't like perfectly on it, it still would give me the portal. And then it also was, it kind of made me wonder about what if there was some other angles I could hit that would still work, but you guys had it tuned it enough that you couldn't do that. Like, because I tried.
It definitely felt the best Splitgate has ever felt. It makes a lot more sense that it's not just even starts, not just abyss. There's like stuff behind the scenes getting tweaked to make it just feel more fluid, have that like mind-body connection just effortless regardless of skill level.
Yeah, Core said in chat, I think Splitgate should focus more on its core community rather than its casual players. The game's in a completely different place now. It's great they're testing new features, but I'm not sure many people will come back to test when it relaunches.
They are focusing on the core community. I feel like with working on the classic game mode, bringing back a map like Abyss, the reason I bring that up is the whole getting casual players and new players to be able to learn is that's been a big problem that we have and been able to keep people is they don't have a way to learn. Races were kind of that before, but even then it's a little bit of a skill gap that you have to get over to be able to learn how to do the races too, but it was still there and a way to just go into something and just mess with the mechanic, you know? So
Right.
I feel like just having something like the races is important.
They
Even-
got
Just is a step in the right direction, man. Just anything to let you experiment with the sandbox in isolation.
Yep.
they gotta bring the races back, man. There's still like racers still playing races on Splitgate 1
Yeah.
to this day.
I
Even during the offline state, they're still
I
racing
feel
on that.
like with the offline state, it almost got more popular. I started seeing more clips.
I believe it.
I will say on the concept of focusing on the core audience, I think it's the core audience understands what a cohesive experience Splitgate 1 was. And
Mhm.
going to Splitgate 2, you have a lot of what I like to think of as cannibalistic game mechanics or cannibalistic design decisions, where I have one feature that actively reduces the other when either one in isolation would go towards a given player, right? Or facilitate a given playstyle. It's just when you try to make a game for everyone, you make a game for nobody, and it's just not compelling in any way.
Mhm.
Obviously, the player onboarding could be improved by making it easier, and that's kind of what they did with abilities by trying to say, hey, you don't have to go out on the map to find anything. You are equipped perfectly by having it yourself. But all the good players just realized no consequence for dying. I'm going to go throw my body at every single fight. I'm going to use my util as much as humanly possible. Back in early testing phases when you didn't have cooldowns on equipment after death,
You can
or it
spam
didn't
the
persist through death,
grenades.
people would die because it's faster to die and respawn than to wait out your equipment cooldown.
Yeah.
And that was actually a thing that happened in portal cooldowns as well, is it was more beneficial for me to YOLO my life in with all of my portals, kill one, trade the other, and then come back in a second. Because I know I'm faster than the next guy up by using all my cooldowns, but that guy's not going to portal as fast. So
Yep.
trading is encouraged, and that's never something we should do. We should encourage playing your life, which is what Even Starts really does.
Yep. No, I can agree with that 100%. Do we have another question from Tony?
Yeah, we have a lot of questions. I was getting to those questions eventually.
Okay.
So the next thing I had on my list was, assuming that like you guys aren't like you're not like actively playing Splitgate right now. I guess this could be a question to both of you right now. What kind of games you guys are like playing besides Splitgate as of late, while you're waiting for the transition to the relaunch?
I'll let Zach go first before I answer.
So I've been on and off with Slay the Spire, and I kind of rage play that game
That's a great
because
game.
it's a good game. I'm just so anti RNG, but it's one of those games where fuck, I died. I can load in. I can speed run it. It's to the point where I'm like, I can min max how fast I play the cards. So I'm basically aim training with the card playing, and it it is a thing. But for the most part, I've been focused on school and academics. I've had all the 3D printing projects that I've been doing. I have a
What's up?
montage coming out soon from the most recent playtest. So like when I do game again, Splitgate is my ride or die. That's the only FPS I'm really interested in going forward. But outside of that, it's just supplementary to that goal.
Yeah. What about you, Yurgi?
I play honestly when I don't have my ride or die game, which I would say it is Splitgate in a split where I'm happy and playing a lot. I just kind of bounce around and play a lot of different games. Although I mainly right now have been playing a lot of League of Legends with one of my friends. I hate like I love torture. I'm a masochist, so I just constantly like playing games like that where it's just it's hard. It's really hard. You can have a perfect game and your team just messes up and now you're losing that game. There's something about that that I like. Besides that, I played a little bit of the finals. I'm playing Remnant. I wanted to get into a more of a story-based game because I haven't been playing a lot of those. I've just kind of missed games like that. And I tried out Arc Raiders for the playtest they had.
So those are a bunch of other FPS games, right? That you're talking
The
about?
finals. The
Yeah.
finals is the only FPS.
Oh,
Remnant and
what's Revenant?
Arc Raiders is an extraction shooter, right?
Arc Raiders is an extraction shooter. Remnant is a third-person shooter that's story based.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not fun.
I recently played my first playthrough of Detroit Become Human. It's a story interactive game.
It's really good, man.
Yeah,
I have seen playthroughs.
it has a lot of like choices that like branches out to. So like your playthrough can be very different compared to others. I've been playing. I've been playing this mod for Plants vs Zombies 2 that just makes it so like it removes all the microtransaction BS and the ads
Godly.
or
That's huge.
harassments. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's been enjoyable. And Wild Frost, which is kind of like Slay the Spire. It's another one of those like roguelike card games. And yeah, that's pretty much about it right now. But yeah, that's what I've been doing currently.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like you're vibing.
So about your so I pull up some interesting stats about ZachsMaxed actually. So
What you seeing?
so I went on your Steam profile, bro.
Okay.
Yes, my hours.
So for Splitgate 1, I have gathered, which is probably the most hours I've ever seen played of anyone for Splitgate 1. He has 4,876 hours into Splitgate 1, which is insane.
That's actually crazy.
Do you want to maybe talk about that? How like you end up playing that much, and what was your mindset through that phase when you played all of that?
So there's a couple phases of that, rounding up 5,000 hours. So I'd say the first 500ish was introduction into the game, getting accommodated or like used to everything, and just getting involved with the community. After that, that's like entry into competitive, a lot more ranked grinding back, especially back in season 3 when ranked was pickup games. So everybody would just join Discord and move to their own calls when you got matched to a team. It's honestly the best matchmaking has ever felt, community wise. Just because everybody was so engaged and like you could
Yeah.
play against somebody one game and then be on their team the next, and just felt great. So then was the launch of like their what they called beta with the console launch, and getting active into the competitive scene in SPS, where my hours really started going up. I would see 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, and when I'm not playing, I'm botting. That was especially a big thing. I would watch through every single competitive game that I would lose or whatever in the replay mode. Actually, I wouldn't just watch through mine. I would watch through everybody's perspective in a game to try and get an idea of every
Wow.
single play style going on, how every interaction occurred, and how I guess the game felt from your perspective, because that helps me build an understanding of A, how oppressive I am, but also who catches this person off guard, and if that person catches that one other person off guard frequently, how are they playing? So you're really absorbing every different play style. And then, we go into the segment where I was an intern, so I would do quality assurance stuff. So that's going and looking through maps, finding issues. So that contributed to hours. Then you have like post SPS where it's and post, stopping development where I would kind of still be very active with pugs, but not grinding 24/7. I ended up branching out into Overwatch a little bit. I branched out into Quake. Both of those were very valuable for the controller to MNK transition, which I kind of felt was inevitable because with controller I feel really limited and there's not a lot of room for mechanical growth, and it doesn't feel genuine for me personally. But I definitely had a great time swapping to MNK, and I definitely wouldn't go back. I do intend on playing more controller going forward to get a better feel and then be an advocate for controller players as well with portaling and anything that they do decide to test UI-wise. But, yeah.
Would you
Okay.
say that's like how you eventually got into coaching? Because like you were just watching your replays of like every
Mhm.
game you win and loss, that like everyone
Exactly.
eventually just wanted uh everyone just wanted you to coach them, so it's just kind of just became natural at that
So
point.
it's actually the opposite. So the way I kind of started coaching is one, I was more on the casual end, and branching over to the more experienced, I would see brand new players trying Splitgate for the first time, and I'm like, hey, I see you're picking up the game. Let me show you every single thing you can do, stack with you, and give you the full rundown of how to make Splitgate the one funnest game you're ever going to play. Daily Streamer is a great example of somebody I played with, and I played with him on the first day he played the game, just randomly after queuing with him and showed him the ropes. So he's still in that MVP tier, so
There you go.
worked
Nice.
out well.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I would offer all of those for free, and I found it also a way for me to understand how players learn and refine coaching technique and refine my own understanding of the game.
One question I actually have, from coaching so many players, what's something common that you've noticed that people struggle with when they first pick up Splitgate?
Really depends on background. A lot of the time is portal usage and three-dimensional thinking, or like navigating
Three-dimensional.
non-Euclidean spaces, I would say, where,
Okay.
hey, maybe something that's far away perceptually isn't far away in practice. So a
Okay.
great example would be, imagine we have 2 points right here, right,
Mm-hmm.
that have a portal wall, but I have a point right here that doesn't have a portal wall. Your new players are going to walk between here and say, this is closer than this, right?
Yeah.
Experienced players like these two are actually closer, and
Yep.
this is the farthest point. So your
Yep.
understanding of how movement takes place fundamentally changes when you think differently. So it's
Yeah.
facilitating that thought.
No, that actually makes sense.
Mm.
Because when I remember having conversations with some of the Halo forgers when they were coming over and trying out the Splitgate 2 map editor, and they're asking me a lot of times like, well, why do you have that there? It's a lot easier to use that. I'm like, well, actually it's not. You're risking yourself more by going up and doing that than you are by just putting a portal up and going through here. So I'm giving you the option to do that, but it's actually a riskier option.
Mhm.
It's just things like that when playing Splitgate, people really don't think about.
Yeah, and to a degree, I almost think the encouraging of the non-portal playstyle is slightly damaging because it's very player forward. I can navigate the entire map without using portals, and therefore I won't. Right? So, but when we look at players playing optimally, I will never give you a chance to shoot me if I can. So I'm never going to be out in the open. I play perimeters rather than areas.
Yep.
So that's where it feels particularly oppressive for new players who don't engage with the system, right? Like there is an optimal way to play, and you're just tipping it out of your favor even more. And
Yep.
they don't understand why they're not playing optimally. They just understand that somebody else is moving fast and they can't do anything about it.
Yep.
So you also have a lot of hours into Kovaaks. Looks like 624 to be exact.
Yep.
Would you say that like helped you improve quite a bit for Splitgate as well?
So it helps the building of muscles and fine control for aim. So yes, it helped, but specifically in the transition from MNK to or controller to MNK, I think late stage it doesn't make a massive difference, especially in Splitgate where strafing is actually more impactful than your aim a good chunk of time, and movement matching and whatever. So when you look at Kovaaks, it is more useful for games like, let's say, Overwatch or tack shooters where you have a movement penalty, so you're encouraged to stand still. And the reason I say Overwatch is their instant acceleration, which can make it really hard to track targets. So pushing reactive scores can be very valuable for you. In Splitgate, when I can do a lot of strafe mirroring and anti-mirroring, the aim is actually significantly more accessible if you figure out that mechanic. But it definitely translates, just diminishing returns.
Let's go through the August, September, and October playtests. So let's start with the October one. So the October playtest was them experimenting with the removal of factions, which is turns out it was highly praised. It looks like it's going to be the new thing moving forward. Would you guys say like you support that idea of this removal of factions across the board?
Yeah, it's going back more towards the classic arena style where you're not dividing stuff up just to divide it up. It's a little closer to the even starts like we want. It's still class based, but it allows the transition into the classic arena mode a lot easier than when you have the factions in place.
I am definitely in favor for it. The one thing I was thinking of though is let's say people maybe want to see like things like the Hypersight, the Arrow Rush, or Smart Wall to be in the game in some sort of way. I was thinking like maybe they could like make him like pick up abilities or something.
Yeah, it's the power
Yeah.
pickup. I felt like that's how it should have been done from the start.
I feel like they could maybe do that.
I never thought the abilities in and of themselves were the problem. It just how they implemented the abilities. It's what became the problem then, you know?
Yeah.
But power-ups, Ian, if you would speak a bit on that for me as well.
Yeah, so obviously you guys know we removed factions, which was pretty overwhelmingly well received. But one of the things people asked for that we saw a lot of requests was, is there a way we could rework these abilities into the form of a power-up? And so we haven't done exactly that, but we have 3 power-ups that we're going to be testing. So one of them is Rush. It's exactly the same functionality as the Adrenaline Rush from Eros, but instead of it being something that you activate, it's a power-up just like in Halo or Quake, where you fight over that power position, you touch the power-up, you gain that ability. We've also got Hypersight, so kind of reminiscent of Meridian's ability. It's a little bit different, so it does not reveal enemies for your teammates through walls. It's more of just an individual power-up. You capture that power-up on the map, and now you can see enemies through walls temporarily. And then for our third power-up, we just kept it classic, OG, overshield, super simple, but really changes the way that things play, where all of a sudden you get that massive health boost. So we're really excited. We've been playtesting it internally, and I think it was a great idea that stemmed from the community, and now we've got kind of our first version of actually showing it to you guys. So excited to get your thoughts on it.
You have any
Yeah.
additional thoughts on
So-
that, Zach?
I'll answer both questions. First of all, factions being gone is a good thing because you can't really balance factions against each other well. That's why we saw heavy Sabrask dominance, because he was really designed around map control
Yeah.
rather than
Sabrask
support.
was
And
way too
Eros,
busted.
I want to frame this as GOATS meta in Overwatch, if you're familiar with this, where you would have like 3 tanks, 3 support in 6v6. DPS does not matter when utility is the defining thing of who wins a game. And mind you, like you would see one Meridian, but even then, the area control is so important for the way the game is designed that Sabrask was essential for half the ranked modes and half whatever.
And just with the TT kill of the game, just having that little bit of being able to lock an area down and do what you want freely, it negates any sort of being able to see you through a wall, being able to slow you down. It just doesn't matter. You just win.
Yeah.
So, ironic enough, Sabrask was the most aggressive faction by a mile. Like,
Yes.
not only did he have the one-shot kill with the plow, you also had Rattler, which was very consistent at multi-kills, and you had Piv Shield, so I could put myself in situations no other faction could and get out alive.
I would also argue he had the better heavy pistol too,
Mhm.
just from the consistent damage to aim and fire rate. You'd just be able to swap it out, and I'd use nothing else but it
There's
because
no reason not to. I
Yeah.
agree.
I like that was the only faction that had grenades too. It's like,
Yeah.
why couldn't you just do that for arrows and like Meridian or something?
The
as well?
grenade was not the strong part. Like, so the grenades are meant as a zoning feature,
Mhm.
but the landmines, holy shit, the
The
landmines were
landmines-
so influential.
Yeah, the landmines just makes
In
it
the
so
smokes.
no one on the other team could play objective very much.
It was essential for split ball. That was the only way of slowing down a good player who's
Yep.
like fast at moving, other than like getting your entire team ready to team shoot. Just with portal replacement, you can't stop them. Either
Yeah.
you smoke off their angle, but that has a cap on it, or you landmine. And that really just forced everybody into Sab. And the problem is their equipment is designed for each faction, so there's no way to mitigate the fact that Sabrask has all area control other than moving utility to other factions. But now you have, hey, why does Meridian have a smoke that has the Sabrask logo on it? That makes no sense. It just makes more sense to go factionless and have everybody touch weapons, especially like when we ran into GAs, when the Phasma was GA'd, because you could hit the players well around like an entire hitbox away. Like, then certain factions straight up don't have certain weapons, and then other factions have weapons that are still so good that they're unbeatable. And then you have factions that are so bad in their certain weapon that they can't contest an equivalent SMG, an equivalent AR. So this really lets players choose what they want to run. That being said, I want to add the caveat that I have not really run anything other than a Sabrask or like Eros weapons and the plow since open loadouts. So that might be something to think about going forward. Is there just going to be like a player's set of divine preferences that they don't shift out of it? Because if I don't know if you felt it during balancing, but they aren't as diverse as they were, because the previous Sabrask Carbine could 2-tap but was very slow, so that's a little faster. The Hyperline is a little slower. They're all compressed a little to be more equivalent.
I haven't really been keeping tabs on the weapon changes or time to kill during the playtests or anything.
I have noticed that, yeah, with the last balance change they made with weapons, at least it feels like everything's becoming like there's not a clear like this is better than that, but the
It's a
plow
different
is still
flavor.
good. Yeah.
I mean, the plow's never not going to be good as long as you can combo. It just doesn't matter.
It's just the nature of that gun, though. It has to be that powerful for it to feel right. If it's not, it just doesn't feel like it's how it should feel.
Speaking
That's
of,
why I've always been like, that should be a pickup, but that's for the OG mode, I guess.
Speaking of plow, would you think it's okay for the plow to no longer one-shot anymore?
Oh, it's still combos. It's good that it doesn't one-shot. I was the biggest advocate for it not
Yes.
one-shotting. In fact, I said 0 headshot multiplier, which I think we are at right now.
Yeah.
I think that's the healthiest way to go with shotgun, saying this is a consistent form of damage, but you're limited to close range and you can't really push that TTK higher if you're jiggle peeking. So you really want to force people to actually play optimally and shoot for the chest and hit all pellets. It's for your players who can't aim super precisely and want to focus on moving rapidly. But yeah, my big concern right now is the combo is still a thing, and there's
Yeah.
no good way to fix that, in my opinion. Like, with that doesn't gut the plow or gut how clunky it would feel to say, hey, your melee takes double the time to execute or
They
something.
they did do things where like certain weapons will have like a longer like weapon switch animation, so like it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah, so that
with
was one of the focuses of that, specifically to prevent, this is something I worked with Akuvu directly on, by the way, is plow swapping into Goliath was extraordinarily strong, and even without
yeah, that's longer now, right?
loadout requirements, everybody would still do that. So the goal with heavy pistols having a delay and shotguns having a delay is shotgun into heavy pistol is the slowest you can physically swap. Mind you, you can still do that with the fast hands one, but that was the gameplay we were trying to maximally discourage of I'm basically quick swapping between the two. You know how people in Splitgate 1 would do like, oh, I'm doing shoddy snipe meta. It's
Yeah.
basically like that, where I go from
It
one
was.
to the other, go to one to the other.
It
So
was
there's
like
actually an insane Genzo clip you guys probably never saw where he was able to full auto the Quantum and the Tetra by swapping it. So he was able to negate the burst time by swapping weapons, and it was functionally fully automatic. And if you didn't
Jesus.
know, the burst pistols have the same TTK as the BRs at close range. They just have bloom or more bloom. So yeah, he has a full auto BR. Fun.
Pretty busted.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah. So
So for the September play test, I was actually kind of I was actually was thinking very negatively about this change, but when I actually did the playtest, I was actually kind of like in the middle. I actually was kind of like feeling like, oh, this is I feel like this could maybe work, but ultimately it was it didn't get enough upvotes for it to move forward, and that was to limit portals for portal charges, where your portals have portal charges. You can't just infinitely place them down, and they also have a portal perk that made it so like it was like if you get a kill, you like get your charges back right away or something like that, and you have like additional like portal like charge or something like that.
So
The way they did it, I felt like it wasn't like too limiting. It was kind of like a soft limit, I felt. But what's your opinion on that, Zach?
So it affects different players differently, very based on how they approach the game. So I'll start with the perks. The bonus portal didn't really do anything. I think it was kind of a throwaway perk, especially relative to slide in the same slot. So when you're thinking about optimal, I want to set it up that way. I have as many portals as possible, but when I don't have portals, I have as much movement potential as possible, right? So competitively, I thought the meta would be Speedy Slayer mixed with Slide, mixed with the portal refresh on kills. So that was -2 seconds off your cooldown, because I believe it was 6 or 8 seconds total. So you get a double kill, you're like half down, 3/4 down. But anyway, with that, you were discouraged from portaling short distances. So a lot of, I think, Grit is something that suffered the most. Half of Grit's portal walls felt not unusable, but wasteful.
The problem with Grit's design is it's designed for infinite portals. It's meant to break up your portal pathing.
Yeah.
So you put that limit on the portals, you're already breaking the design of that map.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grit strikes me as a map that like you can't really go too far with the portals unless you're portaling a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the whole philosophy but behind that map is to force you to portal a lot to get from A to B.
And players playing optimally will also understand I should not walk in open space. So what happens is when my cooldown is up, I find a nice good corner and I sit. So, you know, I could throw my life, I could play aggressively, but why? Why would I give somebody else the opportunity if they are waiting to use their portals to flank me when I have no combat to it? On top of
Literally,
this, I could not break portals if I didn't have
yeah,
charges.
Yeah.
So it creates
Yeah.
this push everybody down because I assume you're going to use portals if you're a high level player. So I can't use my portals because I need to break yours.
I was gonna say the same reason why I felt like the portal cooldowns felt good in the BR are the very reasons why they don't feel good in the arena. You
Mhm.
don't want you want that fluid pace in arena matches. You don't want to be in these weird moments where the whole flow gets changed. Where in the BR you want that flow change. The change in flow is what makes for those interesting engagements. You get those high engagements and then it slows down. You get to calm down, figure out what your next engagement is. It goes back up. But with arena, you want a consistent flow throughout the game. You break that
Exactly.
flow, you're breaking the feeling.
Yeah.
I definitely had many immersion breaking moments where I basically get a big red blank.
Yeah.
You can't do this anymore. And it's
Yeah.
like, ah, this sucks. And that's not something I think about utility. I feel like portaling is so intrinsic, it's functionally sprint at this point. So you added the equivalent of a sprint cooldown.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
When I talk about portaling, it really is just a even level playing mechanic. I heard some people talking about for like in a arena mode making portals like a pickup thing. I'm like, well, that ruins the whole immersion or flow of the game then because it is a core mechanic of the game. It's how you just move. Uh, that goes with portal blocking too, like the EMPs and how you block portals. That becomes then a core mechanic as well. You have to be able to block portals to make the game feel right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's a symptom of Splitgate 2 map design and their lack of portals. So
Mhm.
every portal is quote unquote essential to connecting rotations. And if
Yes.
every portal is essential, the game becomes no portals very quickly with portal blocking, which, mind you, this is something that they need to navigate. But when you look contextually at Abyss, perfect. Like it's chaotic design inherently supports portal blocking, and I define the terms of the arena I fight in. Splitgate 2, portal walls are just so infrequent. I'm very interested to see how they approach the EMP mechanic.
Yeah,
My
they,
big
they were teasing about that, yeah.
EMPs, like Ian mentioned, and like you mentioned earlier, we're adding EMPs into the sandbox. So EMPs are going to be a loadout equipment in the standard arena experience, and then in classic, everyone gets one, just like in Splitgate. But EMPs work a bit different. The way it works now is instead of just clearing portals, when you EMP a wall, it controls that wall for your team. So if I EMP a wall, now only my team can use that wall for a limited amount of time until that effect expires. About, I think right now in internal testing, it's about 7 seconds that you control the wall for. So what we like about that is it adds additional utility to the EMP, and then it works really well with portal overcharging because if somebody blocks a wall, I can EMP that, which now means that the other team can't block that wall with portal overcharging, and now I can, get in and infiltrate the hill or whatever.
They need to have something base kit, in my opinion. If it's not base kit, it's essential. And
Yeah.
what happens when it's like, I can't run stim or my favorite equipment because this guy's portaling a lot, and I feel like I have no chance of winning if I don't hard counter him. We want to avoid the rock paper scissors where players self-select out of their preferred stuff in order to try and stay competitive.
So you're saying
Mhm.
like everyone should just have EMP portals, or not EMP portal, EMP grenades right off the rip?
Yeah, so this becomes challenging for UI. So one of the things I think we're trying to think how to word this. Secondary equipment slots. So let's say I tap once for one button, do either a hold or a double tap for another thing.
Yeah, just
It's
like
like
how
have
Halo
Halo
did.
with
Yeah,
its grenades. You can have multiple different types of grenades,
yeah,
but
that
you
could
have to
work.
cycle through which one you
So
have.
let's say
Yeah.
you have a base kit secondary EMP or something along those lines, and
Yep.
then
I'm sorry. Go.
yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. But
Yeah. No, that'd be. I think
Yeah.
that would be a good quality of life change where you have those 2 equipment slots and one's your EMP and then one's whatever your secondary is. And then that allows that skill expression still.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We just want people to always feel equipped, realistically.
Mhm.
So when we looked at portal cooldowns, it was never framed as I have a defensible position, and every time I'm in an area that I should be able to control, I feel like I'm at risk of somebody flanking me. There's not
Mhm.
much I can do to stop that. With some level of portal blocking, I can actually create defensive areas where I am holding a position and dictating where you're going to come from. So it makes
Yep.
it easier for me to predict and less random, which actually discourages aggressive play and over-portaling, because this over-portaling occurs because no area is safe. There's no
Yes.
desire to stay anywhere, so I just need to be as hard to track as possible to create this level of safety.
Since you can't create a safe spot, it becomes safer to become aggressive and then get the edge on people. Like I felt
Yeah.
that in my play style too, because in Splitgate 1, I wasn't as aggressive of a player because I knew I was going to be running into people at a higher level, so I would be playing defensively a lot, and it would work because I knew the portal routes, I knew where to block portals, I knew how to position myself. Splitgate 2 came and just threw that all out the door. So now I'm having to play hyper aggressive just to stay competitive then.
Yeah, and if you
Mhm.
if you're trying to portal block as well, like you have to play aggressively first to get to that destination, right? So like you have to control the spot, and then you can set up your portal blocks, and then
Yep.
rinse repeat.
It goes back to the concept of a cohesive game where portals are both an offensive and defensive tool, while also
Yep.
being a good form of movement. It's rather than just I'm going to race and beat you every time.
hmm
I think it's also worth examining portal dead zones in areas like bypass, which become a very very efficient for defending because nobody can push you out, right? So when they implement portal blocking, if they implement it, I hope to see a way to make sure it's not like everybody runs an EMP and locks down a room for however long they said it. They said it was going to be on like a cooldown or something, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what they said, but how do we prevent everything from shutting down and becoming no portals? How's there this give and
Yeah.
take that we would see with Splitgate 1 where you're going to block the wall, I unblock it, and it becomes this clearing corners approach to that you'd see in like a tack shooter of
it's
let me
just
break
gonna
this portal, clear this angle, break this other portal, clear this angle. That becomes a lot more strategic and intentional.
it's just
I
gonna be
would
an
imagine just having a set amount of EMPs you can use each life becoming the norm again, because I remember that system worked really good in Splitgate 1. You'd have 2 EMPs. If you used them right away, well, now you don't have your safe spot, so you have to save them for those crucial moments when you actually did need them.
They
So
did tease that it was gonna be different though. Like it's not gonna just be like a Splitgate 1
Yeah,
EMP. So
that's what I am a little worried about. Just what
yeah.
is it going to turn it into then? But
I am worried that it's
we
gonna
have to
become a
wait and
game
see.
of like, oh, no one gets to use a portal. You don't get the portal. You don't get the portal. You don't get the
And
portal.
that's what he's
Yeah.
talking
yeah,
about. What we don't want. We want it
Yeah.
to be that nice medium to where you can break portals up, but not. It's a no portal mode now. You
so
know.
Right.
I would argue that EMPs are best as gameplay interrupters
Yes.
rather than whatever like indefinite area control, because it's essential for Split 1 that they're indefinite, because the EMP making a sound actually is your trigger that this wall fell,
Yeah.
right? So with portal replacement, you don't really have a good signal that your portal just got broken if you're not looking at it. So there's a physical audio cue originating at the wall anytime it's broken. I hope that's something that comes back to
Yeah, I
wall
agree.
signaling.
Those vocal cues, they make a huge difference when you're playing a game like Splitgate where it's so fast paced, so three-dimensional. Just getting a little cue to know that something happened, you're spending less time thinking, and then you can move to what your next move is instead.
Speaking of which, what did you guys think, or Phoenix, I guess, because you were the only one who played, of the new audio cues running through portals? in the last playtest. If you noticed it.
I didn't really notice it, to be fair. You're talking about the October playtest, right?
Yeah, when enemies run through portals, you now hear a sound. It kind of sounds like a gravitas.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the Even Starts playtest specifically, but I think it's a good concept. It's a little misleading at times, and players who triple portal super fast actually break the system, because you'll hear like you don't hear 4 portal exit sound effects. You kind of hear the last one, and it's too late by that point, and it doesn't actively reflect their player position.
Yeah.
So you're portaling too fast for it to actually register it until the very end.
Right.
That goes back to client-side portaling, right? So I'm actually moving faster than the server can predict where I am, kinda. So
All right.
House is kinda not having fun because he can't see my portal lines when I move.
Before we talk about the October playtest, the ads are about to start. So let's just take our first break right here.
Take our first break. Hell yeah.
Yeah, Minnie was like, I get so confused at times, thinking I keep getting shot at.
Yeah, because it sounded like the gravitas is what was weird about it.
Yeah, that's not good. If it sounds like the gravitas, that's gonna give you PTSD.
It's work in progress. I would expect it to probably be a little different.
Yeah. I think
Especially
I might
if you
have...
guys gave him that feedback already.
I think many people did.
I think I picked up there was a sound, like a new sound going on, but I don't know if I picked up what it was actually coming from. Yeah.
I think map design for Splitgate 2 maps needs a little bit of altering. I think a great example would be the power weapons on core are quite oppressive. I think core is so small you could probably get away with one single power weapon in the middle in between that rock, the artifact as they call it.
Yeah.
Probably a grav, because in the playtest with Even Starts they had 2 Borealises, which if you don't know, I can look across that gap and see into your spawn, so I had multiple clips over...
They designed it for that.
Even Starts. The problem is I can collateral you with the Borealis. So at least in the Portal cooldowns playtest, we got a map that had the Borealis on core, and I 4-killed a team in spawn. Actually, Phoenix, you might have been part of that.
I was part of the murder streak.
Let me double check.
Wait, so in Even Starts, the power weapons are there right away?
They're fixed. No, they're not there right away, but they're the same every time you play a map.
Okay.
So, for example, on Eros maps, it's always BFB split stream. On Meridian maps, it's always Gravitas and what's it called? Borealis. For Sabrask maps, it's always Fubar and Deadbolt. So the thing that's unique about Core is it wasn't Gravitas and Borealis. It was 2 Borealis because they have it symmetric.
Yes.
And that's where it gets problematic, especially if one person gets both Borealises. Boreali.
Oh, they tie the power weapons to like the faction now?
Yes, and all the pickup weapons in Even Starts are tied to the map.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, when you played Arrows maps, you only had Arrows pickups. When you played Sabrask maps, you had Sabrask weapons. And
that's an interesting. Like, I get why they did that. Normally, you do want to just think about what weapon's gonna work best on the map, but
well, no. So it was discussed primarily for like continuity, but also you don't necessarily want Arrows weapons exclusively for Even Starts because you remove half the sandbox, right?
Yep.
But I think it's making it immersive would be the goal, and how does everything go to one common theme? So one point of discussion during that was, do you start with ARs and carbines associated with that faction on a map? And that's where we were really iffy on it, because on one end it fits the vibe a lot better. On the other end, it's less consistent, and maybe I don't get, the universal experience across the board. Then that also raised the question of, should I be able to choose my primary? And that begets the concern of a meta.
And that's
there's a lot of factors.
I feel like that fits more the classic playstyle, though, that like everyone's familiar with. It's like, oh, they blow up a certain map. They expect a certain power weapon at a certain location at every given time.
I
So
would
I feel like
actually
it would make
be
sense.
It
okay
was for
with.
starting loadouts. I think we were talking about, like, do I start with X versus Y?
I would like it if we did start with like just arrows weapons, and then
Well,
based on the
start
map, you get Meridian, Sabrask, or whatever.
well, start your
Yeah, you were
loadout
in the
didn't
clip,
change,
Phoenix, by the
right?
way. So, what was that?
Starting loadout didn't change, right? That was always arrows
No,
weapons,
yeah.
right?
So that's what we were talking about. Should your starting loadout change as well tied to map, or should you be able to choose, or should it always be arrows? Because
That's
in the
a good
current state of
question.
Classic Arena, the stuff like the Trailblazer doesn't exist. The Hyperline doesn't exist. There's no way to get these weapons. So I was trying to find ways to actually get these weapons involved in the pool.
I feel
I'd
like
be
maybe
okay with those
for
being pickups based on maps. Like
feel like
that would be fun.
I feel like maybe it's to like keep like the faction like lore intact or whatever, and not being able to like use half of the sandbox. Like they should just probably just tie it based on the faction maybe. So that's why
Those
every
starting
time you're
weapons.
playing, let's say you're going from Meridian map, you play Meridian weapons. You go to Arrows map, you play Arrow weapons. So
I raise you this: am I more likely to dodge maps I dislike weapons on? So let's say I
oh
dislike the
yeah, that's
Hyperline
true.
versus whatever. So that was the concern: is yes, it's even starts, but now it's a less consistent experience. So the real beauty of even starts is you frame every other weapon relative to your starting weapon, right?
Mhm.
So having the carbine there, like the Arrows carbine, makes it a universal constant. You know, everything always feels like an improvement. It muddies the water with having the other ones. I think AR you can probably move out of the loadout and have a pistol, but I don't know how to approach the carbine situation. Maybe you
I
can have kitted carbines as an upgrade, but
I feel like you can
Wow.
place them as pickups near the initial spawns.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that.
And then you can have it change based on the map. So, like for Sabrask maps, you can get the Trailblazer and the Warden. And then for uh, Meridian maps, you can get I forget the name of the Synapse, I think it is.
for the AR.
Wow.
Yep.
Here's an idea. Why don't it sell like this weapon pickup? So like you just have like kind of like a locker like pickup, like a wall pickup or something, and like
Where
these
it's
could
everything.
these could have like your primary like weapons that you like swap to or something like that.
What might be interesting is to have loadouts affect pickups. So I choose a loadout, and for me versus for you, my weapon is this with my attachments, but you pick up the same plate. It's your weapon with your attachments of the same archetype. So you have a shotgun plate, but it picks up your shotgun loadout.
Yeah.
If we're almost thinking from a Call of Duty perspective, where they have their loadout drops. So
I would
now
actually like that.
I might pitch that as well, because I think they're trying to leverage strong versus weak. And all attachments is definitely strong, but when you start leaning into having so many plates, it gets a little hard.
Yeah.
But that also allows us to include progression and customization into Classic Arena, which previously didn't exist.
Yep.
That being said, we introduce a meta, which kind of is antithesis to the point of Classic.
There would be a little bit of a meta, but it restricts it to a pickup. Like you have to still go and pick that plate up to get the gun you want.
Was there
Which... Oh, I'm sorry. You can go.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I was done. You can.
Okay, so you were talking about a clip earlier. What was that about?
Yes, you were in that. So I can forward it to you if you want. So
you can share screen if you want. We can show it off on stream.
I don't have it on this PC.
Oh,
I have my
okay.
phone up here because again, this is my dad's PC.
Gotcha.
I think I have the clip on Twitter. I can try and DM it to you.
What was
link.
what was it about? I forgot.
So this was during the Portal cooldowns playtest, and I spawn killed you in spawn with the Borealis.
Oh god.
With the collat, which was the big concern about game health.
Damn. All right. I guess I could check that off stream then. But
Or you could put it on stream if you want to show it, but it's your call.
did you share it to me?
I
Oh,
just sent it to you.
oh,
It's the
okay.
link to the Twitter one. So you're the second clip. The first one is an egregious angle I found halfway through the playtest where you could spawn kill on core. That probably should get fixed. You know, it's pretty
Yeah.
intense.
Let's
I'll
see.
forward it to Yurgi too, actually.
Application.
I know the spot you're talking about though. It's designed for that interaction you're actually talking about, but what it's actually meant to be is when the power weapons spawn, you're supposed to have both teams picking them up at the same time and then doing a duel. But a lot of the times that's not what's happening. You're having a one-sided fight where one person gets it and then is shooting at the other team.
So what we're about to watch, this was from the playtest with the
Portal cooldowns.
Portal cooldowns, right? And ZachsMaxed apparently just destroyed me and my entire team here.
Well, it's in the second clip in the sequence, so this...
Oh, this is merge clips together?
Yeah, so that's been
Okay.
my approach as of late, is try to sync them as best as possible. Portal cooldowns destroyed that, man. I was so depressed. So if you saw spawn to spawn, which is insanely strong.
Yeah, you can still weapon swap pretty freaking quickly from the looks of it.
Yeah. It's just not as insane as before, where it was actually better at times to never just always swap. So it's this clip in particular.
Oh shit.
So first of all, there's you.
Was that the
You're gonna
first
spawn in my... No, you're the second. You're the one who got
Okay.
melee combo. And then you
Disgusting.
immediately spawn in my crosshair.
Bro, what? Come on now.
Yeah, so Royale should not exist on this map.
Oh man. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with at least the gravitas, we can leverage the fact that the majority is close range and you have a little bit of the sucking action going on. Clippable moment for you there. From, you know, medium distances from those bridges. But more importantly, it exhausts faster. It becomes a game map that is more like tighter to gunplay.
Yep.
And, you know, the standard stuff, which I think might be appealing for a good chunk of people who don't like getting diffed by power weapons for a minute straight.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
You know.
I mean,
Oh.
again, we are talking that it does seem a bit busted, but we are talking about it as a more like a competitive player, what they would do. You know,
So,
I feel like
I
I
like
wouldn't
to
be able to do what Jesus did there.
You wouldn't, but it will happen eventually.
And
And when people
Maybe.
figure out that you can do that, they're going to preemptively sit in that area with a Borealis and block other spawns. One of my concerns long term is I found out that landmines don't block spawns. So I can put landmines on spawns and you can
What the
spawn
fuck?
into a landmine and I can trap you out with it.
No.
So I learned that when I was playing Grit, and Grit Dom has the spawns on the bases. So I was threw a landmine on the base and got a trigger the second somebody spawned, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh
So
man.
That's
in Core's
hilarious.
context specifically, where they have so few spawns, I realized I can block the other two with line of sight and or portals, prepare to flank the second one, and the second I get a hit marker, I know they spawned, and run in. And before they can even reach a portal wall, because Core has you spawn a little bit away from portal walls, I'm already there killing you.
Yeah.
Like
That's crazy.
it's a concerning concept for anything you give to a casual player as a fun mechanic can and will be leveraged against you in the optimal case.
Yeah. No, that is that little give and take with having just fun mechanics in a game. Competitive players are always going to find a way to take advantage of it in some way, but that's just always going to be how it works, though. Competitive players are going to take advantage of any system they possibly can. That's
The concern is when the casuals are forced to do the same thing. So against
Yep.
Sabrask meta, you didn't see Sabrask pretty much at all in quick play. The second rank drop, quick play is only Sab. It's ubiquitous.
I remember because I had played Sabrask in the alpha, And I was telling everyone, guys, Sabrask is overpowered. Just wait. And people are like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Like, and they're showing me statistics. Like, look at how many people play this. I'm like, that's fine. Just wait. It's going to become a thing. Like, people
Yeah.
are going to catch on. And then it did. And then it took over, and everyone was playing it.
For the record, we did tell them months in advance that this was going to happen because
Yeah.
SAB was so heavy that we tried to SAB limit because we tried to make it as even as possible. One SAB is the only way the game is remotely playable. The second you get higher than that,
I feel like Sab maybe just has like it's the only faction that has like the utility I actually care about for fights. Like
Exactly.
Arrow's got like some fun utilities like
Yeah.
like the portal, but I feel like I'm not using the portal very much in actual combat.
And I always felt like the Meridian's Hypersight was just kind of it's a bait. Like, it's not as good as you think it is in Splitgate because of just how fast people are actually moving. You can't keep track.
I also just feel like Hypersight was just inconsistent. Like, it would just not work half of the time.
So the reason for that is you can actually dodge the scan if you didn't know with portals.
Yeah, you can.
So if the scan is going, let's say here, and I walk through a portal going here, in between, you actually skip the scan.
Oh.
So if you see the scan from far enough away, you can dodge it.
Yep.
Wonderful.
And if they don't
Mhm.
direct the scan towards you, because it's a directional scan too.
Exactly.
If they don't direct it to you, you don't get hit. And now they can't see you, which, like, I get why that mechanic's in there, especially in the BR. It makes a difference.
So you tell me competitively, like, you guys were just trying to like portal out of this possible scan that you guys are predicting later, and then you just head back
It's a
after
known
the scan.
mechanic. It's not many people act on it because
Yeah.
you typically, with how condensed the maps are, you don't have a lot of time to do it, especially if there's walls between you and the thing. So let's say you're on a zenith in the indoor sections, you're going to get hit with the scan before you can portal. But if you're on a bypass, you can act on it.
Mhm.
It also makes high portaling players more likely undetectable. So you create this asymmetry where lower level players, because they're not engaging with the mechanic, are going to get punished more
Yep.
by the abilities. That just happens a lot. Heal grenade is something that's been very meta as of late with the higher TTK,
Mhm.
especially because you can full reset fights, and it's functionally become the same as a PIV. So we might get that nerfed at some point.
Mhm.
I think Cardinal was not necessarily opposed to removing it in one of the previous playtests when we were discussing it.
In this test, we're going to be testing the removal of some equipment from the sandbox. It is just a test. We're going to be asking in all the surveys about, were there any equipment that you liked seeing gone? Which equipment did you miss the most? Some of these might be making a comeback in future tests, but we're going to be testing without proximity mine, recon radar, region cloud, sand grenade, and time dome. So those equipment will not be selectable within loadouts, which we think really simplifies, the sandbox, makes everything read a lot better. It also removes some kind of redundancy that we were seeing in internal playtesting with like heal grenade and stim shot. They kind of do the same thing, and now without factions, that's become pretty redundant. So we like a lot of things about removing these equipment, but we want to hear from you guys once again and see what you guys think.
I'd be okay with
On
that.
my
I
first
never was a fan of it.
Mhm.
Even in the BR, which I think is what it was mainly made for, it didn't even feel that good to use. So I don't see where it much use in the current sandbox, honestly, or much need
Mostly
for it.
in competitive, you'd throw it on a hill and make your hill player survivable. So there were teams that would run 2 Meridian, 1 Eros, 1 Sab. Mind you, that's because Eros was required. Nobody would run Eros if it wasn't. But so you'd have 1 time bubble guy for utility and 1 hill player with whatever. And it got really strong when both people ran the heal grenade and you would alternate them. So you get the bump, 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 bump for the heal bursts, and they
That's
become
crazy.
unkillable. Or you sync them, and then they're at 1 health, and they go to full health in 1 burst.
That's crazy,
So
actually.
yeah, so it's just unreadable, uncounterable, and whatever. And that's kind of ideally what we want to start removing from the game and pulling back on is, do I hit a health skill check and win, which is what the plow is. Right? There should be some give and take slightly. With the
Yep.
plow, it's like if you didn't set up properly, you are dead.
Yeah.
90% of the map becomes unplayable because you are now in plow one stop position. As opposed to like carbine oriented fights where you always have a dodge mechanic, you always have maybe I can escape a bit, whatever.
So there was the October playtest. This is the most recent one we had, and in it we had the return of Abyss, like straight up from Splitgate 1 into Splitgate 2. We had this classic game mode with no loadouts and weapon pickups around the map. That means like additional weapon pickups around the map, not just power weapons. Even starts, and then this was something that the majority didn't really figure out until or learn until recently, when the devs started talking about it with Cows and Zach, was that Portal auto aim assists like got adjusted, which is like it's more lenient, more friendly now. And so I played during the playtest. I didn't really notice the Portal auto aim, but that's a nice change. But yeah, what's your guys' thoughts about that? Because in my opinion, I feel like that was the best playtest we have yet. Like, and it felt very good. I do wish the game mode wasn't just like another game mode. I wish it was actually the core experience, if I'm being honest. But yeah, like what's your opinion about that playtest, Zach?
I will say Abyss being so good highlighted the flaws in Splitgate 2 map design. Like it just plays so much better. I found that pickups reduced my portaling tendency more so than portal cooldowns did, because portal cooldowns, it was like a forced cap that I would just kind of ignore a good chunk of the time. With this, I had the ability to always portal, but I didn't necessarily need to. Mind you, this changed and got thrown out the window when I got a BFB, but that's kind of intrinsic to the BFB, right? Because the portal cooldown nerf actually kind of kills the BFB in practice.
Well, nice thing with pickups too is they're normally placed to intentionally make you leave your portal wall. Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
all the level design is based around making you leave your portal wall to grab that pickup, because that pickup makes you stronger, which means you have to take a risk to grab it.
I also think like if you're just playing like normal team deathmatch, like I feel like you want to create some point of interest around the map so they're being more utilized in a way, right? And you can do that by adding more weapon pickups.
Yep.
For the record, that's why TDM never really made it into competitive for Splitgate 2. Is TDM played awful. People would go to bypass and be like, corner time, no portals onto me. I have 3 Sabrask walls, I've created the bubble, and there's no way to break it. So the other thing with Abyss is defined power positions. Splitgate 2 didn't really have that because portal walls are everywhere and unblockable. Splitgate 1 with Abyss, you have your Creddy corner on B-Dom, you have Rubble on A-Dom, and you have the little stairs that go to the SMG bridge. Areas that don't have a lot of portal walls super near them, mind you, like they're 5-10 steps away, but give you leverage and really strong line of sight where I'm not instantly leaving it the second I get duressed, right? And I, as a competitive optimal player, am encouraged to play those spots because the value proposed from playing that spot is more so than the value of staying near a portal ball and hyper-aggressing.
Yep, that's the whole point of having these power positions too in the maps, is people like to play them. They give them an advantage, so people will rotate to them, and it gives people a reason to leave portals again. Again, it can be risky where if you do get caught there from someone portaling in, well, now you're stuck in this position and have to rely on your actual gun skills. But you get value out of it. It gives you a reason to actually want to do something else besides just an artificial, like, hey, you can't portal now.
When it comes to like Splitgate 2 maps, like I never really agree with the whole mindset where they're like, oh yeah, we're doing less portal walls, but they're more intentional. I mean, like I was thinking to myself, it's like, well, like the portal walls are intentional to me in Splitgate 1, the way I use them. So it's like, why not just fully embrace the idea that there's more options and add more verticality to your map too? I don't know why your maps are just don't
So
have much
I can
verticality in
answer
them.
that actually
And
because Highwind and Olympus had horrible retention and players couldn't navigate them. That's exactly why. Foregone
Yeah.
as well for
well,
players who didn't understand how to get up. Like people straight up who don't engage with the portal mechanic can't use elevator portals. So
Yeah.
how do we get them up there is we
well,
just don't have up there.
I feel like Olympus, what isn't the best like map
Olympus is
example.
extreme for its verticality, but when you can understand it, it can be fun. Yeah.
Well, I could argue
Olympus,
Helix as well, because Helix had split elevator portals in its hallways, and new players really sucked at getting to the top of those hallways.
They would never go to the top. They'd only play the one level of the map. Yeah.
the problem with Olympus is that I just feel like it's like too much of like a beta map compared to the rest of the roster. And the reason for that is it was literally like one of the first maps they have ever did for the game. Sure, it was some differences here and there since the very start, but it's still basically the same map, pretty much. And I feel like it's a lot of ways it just feels pretty clunky to like move around on it.
If you can portal well, yes, but it is very portal intensive, and a lot of the area that you're not portaling, you're very exposed, and you have no clue where you're getting shot from. So
Yep.
it really does encourage this. Either I'm trading on hill, and I need my team to set up my safety point, or I am the aggressor and I need to move fast and not get shot. So it played well at high level play, low level play. It's the trick shot map.
I have a question for you, Max. What other Splitgate 1 map would you like to see make it to Splitgate 2 just based on its level design and how it plays?
I would love Highwind, man. I love
Highwind?
Highwind. Highwind
Okay.
has so much diversity of gameplay, in my opinion.
We
See-
we were talking about the same thing before the
We were
podcast.
talking
I
about
also
that.
agree with Highwind.
Highwind's one of those ones where I would like to see it come back, although I would like it to be a slight remake just to get some of the scaling a little bit changed on it. But
Yeah.
beyond that, I feel like
Yeah, I was saying
it's a good
Highwind.
candidate.
I was saying Highwind, but not 1-to-1. Do like a
Yeah.
recreation, make upscale a little bit.
I mean, technically, that's what they did with Splitgate 2. In hindsight, I know I said in the video I didn't notice it and it felt 1-to-1, but that's me as a intense Portal player.
Yeah.
Because I'm on the Portal walls, I don't notice it, but in hindsight, I look at footage and I'm like, wait a second. This hill used to fit 5 people, now fits 10 people, or 8 people.
Yeah.
And when I start framing stuff relative to objective size, it then makes more sense at the scale differential. That being said, I think Splitgate 1 in post is actually very claustrophobic. And I think the increase in scale is actually quite good. And I lean into that.
That was my main complaint of a lot of the Splitgate 1 maps was just the underscaling of a lot of it, but that's also they didn't have the movement to make up for scaling up either back then either.
Yeah, I feel like the upscale it's justified because it's
Of the
you have better movement options now. It's not just portals. You also got the optional solution to just slide around the map, which you can get.
That's what I've been
so
happy with.
Yeah, you can get to pretty much max speed or very top speed like pretty quickly just by just sliding down a stairs and boom, you're zipping around the map. You know, like Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Indeed, it's gonna be great, bro. I have high hopes. I hope we get more stuff.
I just hope once the game relaunches that they stay consistent with the updates. It's been a lot where after the end of Splitgate 1 and then what happened with the launch of Splitgate 2 where almost just want to see consistency out of the updates, knowing that they are going to be adding stuff to the game more instead of just being a big update and then we're gone again and you're not going to hear from us for a bit. So that's my
Yeah.
main thing I'm gonna hope for.
So the question is more so how much content do they prepare ahead of time? From what I've heard from the dev streams and stuff, I'm pretty sure they have more maps they have yet to show, both in
Okay.
the new Splitgate 2 universe and Splitgate 1 stuff probably moving over. They
That's good.
have new content. The question is how you pace it. And them being kind of
Yes.
silent on this is better because when we
Yes.
see the content now, we lose the surprise factor and the brand new content factor that comes off at relaunch, which
Yes.
is really, really fucking important for relaunch to do successful,
Mm-hmm.
is not feeling like the bland same old game. So
Yep.
what we're doing now is we're testing all of the changes that they're going to make in a safe
Yep.
environment with existing content that doesn't leak anything.
And I think
We
the
have seen the
like the
PP gun,
showing
Tony.
of the Abyss was crucial. Like it gave us just enough to get excited again, without giving us too much to be like, oh, this is you're gonna get bored of it quick. I don't think that's gonna happen. Abyss is something I think that we as a community love enough, and we're never gonna get sick of that map. So
I
Yeah,
think a tightly designed arena shooter also has the benefit of having more I say more longevity, more gameplay variety than an arcade shooter. An shooter requires content at scale for loadouts,
Mhm.
which like we have a couple. It's not COD level. Like, you when you have 5 options per slot versus like 3,
Yeah,
it's larger. And, you know, arena just so much more variety game to game, while arcade is like I'll get a pretty consistent experience if I make the same decisions going into it.
yep, yeah, I agree with that. I
I
agree.
I still have some questions, but before I get to
Mhm.
the questions I came up with, there's some questions asked by Tony and Keem and Juice, and so well, I guess we could just go through them pretty quickly. So the first one is Tony asks, "How do you feel about the portal aim auto aim?" Me personally, I didn't notice it, but I'm all for it. You Zach?
Yeah, same exact mindset. I think portaling, like hitting the portal wall itself, shouldn't necessarily be the skill gap. If you want to execute on something and you're roughly there, we shouldn't really say, "Hey, you were an inch off. You were almost there," but
Hmm.
you're not. No, let's get newer players and more casual players who don't want to refine that mechanic to its absolute peak into the fun zone, which
Mhm.
is that I'm going to move around and everything is going to feel fluid and intuitive. Because the second you start missing portal walls, it's like this mechanic is bullshit. I'm not interacting with it anymore. I'm just going to walk. Walking is consistent. That's my go-to, my bread and butter.
Yep,
So it just raises the accessibility
yep.
without really diminishing skill.
You think it's a good change, Yuri, to make it a bit
Yeah,
more easier?
I agree. Like nothing pissed me off more than when I barely missed a portal and now I'm having to re-put it up again. You die a lot. Like you think you get a portal up and then you go through and you don't have it up, you're dead.
Yeah.
It's the most annoying thing that can happen to you in the middle of a game. So fixing that to where hey, you're close to it, now your portal's up, it makes a big difference.
I feel like in Splitgate 2, I'm running into this issue way more than the compared to Splitgate 1, is where I'll set up my portals, but then I won't be able to use my portals because Splitgate 2 makes it so like your portals could be replaced after a second and a half. So if I'm not using my portals right away, they're just gone, right? So
Yep.
I'm like, okay, well, I guess I
It
can't use
definitely hurts the
that.
anchor mechanic. Yeah.
It's a
And
what?
portal anchoring, so what you're talking about is portal anchoring.
Yep.
So where I run through a portal, close one, and keep it at this location, and I slowly creep up playing through power positions and have this bail, which is kind of what the portal is inherently designed around.
Yep.
But you're right that the portal replacement removes the consistency of the bail portal method and the portal anchor method.
Yeah.
So that's definitely sad. I remember actually way back in the first alpha when we closing portals closed both, and we said, "Hey, this is actually game changing
It is.
to anchor portals," and
Yeah.
that got changed, which is good. But
Uh, so I actually still play where I close both portals, but I play with bumper portaling, so I can still do a pseudo anchor portal when I need to, because it's such a pivotal way to survive in Splitgate that you need that mechanic no matter what.
I would be down to experiment a bit of both, like close both and then close one at a time, but the only issue is that I play on controller. There's things that are important to me already set up in the keybind, and I don't want to change literally everything to try to squeeze another variable in, you know?
So that actually is one of the biggest limiting factors for any feature addition to Splitgate is buttons on controller.
Yep.
So one of the things you probably haven't noticed, but with the removal of abilities, you actually have faster portal responsiveness. I don't know if you guys have noticed that.
I have not. I'll have to test that again, but I had moved my abilities off the bumpers. I had moved it to the D-pad because having it on the bumpers would mess up my portaling. So I completely moved my abilities off the pad, the bumpers.
Yeah,
I guess if they never do bring abilities back, even though, like, let's say they don't even bring it back even for like a pickup, I guess that is like a keybind right there that I could use for something else now. That used to be for abilities.
So it's more so, I don't think they even want to go back into the double press, because you actually have to change portal to an on-release key rather than an on-press. That's why I said, did you notice that it feels better? So if I pressed portal and held it, it wouldn't do anything, right? Until I release. Yeah, so because it needs to check if you're releasing at the same time or if both are pressed simultaneously. So that's why it waits for you to do that. But it adds this micro latency, which kind of makes controller players hard to keep up with M&K, which was not the case in Splitgate 1, which is why you could have controller players on roughly comparable speed scales. So that artificial ceiling should hopefully be gone now.
There you go.
Tony also asks, how do you think 1047 could better onboard new players into the world of using portals?
I think that goes back to, so I think single player, specifically portal test chambers from Portal, where you have puzzles in space that require using portals, and you can go through multiple of those to earn a cosmetic or something. But I want to reinforce spatial reasoning, which seems to be a large deficit right now, especially when you look at map design and other AAA games that are so simple and like the enemy is forward, the teammates are behind, that people kind of get lost when the environment adapts around them, which is fundamentally what Splitgate does. So introducing them to these non-Euclidean environments where maybe I need to go far to go close is important.
Yeah.
That being said, they can't put a lot of money into it because, again, they are trying to release early next year, late this year, and, you know, cost a lot of money. So we would have to temper our expectations, and
I mean,
I don't know if it's
again,
viable.
if for something like that, they could use simpler assets like they do with the takedown maps. It doesn't have to be a highly graphical thing that they do, which makes it easier than to implement. So hopefully we can see at least a basic version at launch, and then maybe they can expand on it as they go. I really think that if they put the effort into it, we could see it, at least a simple version for launch that is effective, because you just need, like you said, some simple puzzles that get you in the mindset of what the spatial reasoning is.
Especially when we consider that tutorials always tell you the answer. You know, nobody retains it.
Yep. You need something where you don't have the answer and you have to try and solve it.
I feel like
educate how you would do it, but not the solution.
Yep.
I feel like it's possible something like that could exist if the relaunch becomes successful. So
well, I think it needs to exist prior to relaunch, because that's when your new players are going to try it. If it's post relaunch, it doesn't matter.
It won't make a difference at that point. this relaunch is going to be the next really big time to get new players back in. And if you don't have something like that in place then there's no point in having it in place at all.
Mhm.
Yeah. Juice asks, what do you think about having beefed up weapons versus new power weapons?
So,
And,
are we talking about like the classic arena pickups, roughly?
Yeah.
I'm not too sure
I
what he
think
means by
that's
that.
what
Juice,
he's
if
talking
you're
about.
still in chat, feel free to
I'm gonna
iterate.
assume that yes, that is the case, and I think the reason they were doing that is they really want to incentivize pickups more because kind of Splitgate 1, not a lot of people engaged with them. The players that understood the value of the pickups did. Like,
Yeah.
hey, the carbine lets me do this, but the BR lets me do this, and that's objectively better. I
Oh,
think that's
I
valuable.
think he's talking about like the primary weapon pickups basically, where they're like have
Oh
like
yeah,
all the mods attached to them.
I think that's probably valuable, and that lets us get back into the concept of maybe I get the Sabrask weapons and the Meridian weapons on their respective maps. The only thing that I can see that will be kind of weird is when you get into an Arrows map and you get a carbine not for your carbine. So now you have two of the same carbines, one with the attachments, one without. And how do I know which one has the attachments? Because they don't have it on the HUD. So you kind of
Yeah.
just gotta trust that
Mm.
your carbine has the attachments or not. Which is
Yeah,
another valuable thing of even starts is I know what I'm getting every time I pick up a weapon. There's no this guy used rapid fire grip, this guy used laser sight barrel, you know.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's
again,
a
I'm always in favor for more weapon pickups in the map because again, it just adds more POIs on your maps,
mhm.
more purpose to go to the said location,
more
and
variety
the fact
just
that
in gameplay in
and the fact that
general.
they're not just like power weapons being like spam everywhere, but this like
Mm.
the common weapons is slight buffs with attachments. Like I think that's fine. Um, and then King of Juice also asked, is there anything else that Splitgate 2 could add from Splitgate 1 that would be realistically possible, or do you think Splitgate 2 is perfect as is for launch?
I think from Splitgate 1 firing range is by default probably the important thing. They could do races, but I
Yeah.
don't know if they're going to prioritize races given that yeah, people engage with them, but that's not it's not going to be why you stay to Splitgate races because
I
those already exist in Splitgate
do
1
you,
as a single player experience. It's hard for them to validate dev time, I would assume.
do you think
So the
new players like ever like cared about races? I feel like that was like a
hot
game
take
mode they
no.
never touched.
Yeah, I think the
It,
players who are like, I want to play this a little more, discovered races.
yeah.
Races was always
Yeah.
like, I've exhausted everything else in the game. I'm gonna just grind this for a bit.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot more issues they need to iron out.
Yeah.
BR for me was always meh. I was always concerned that they would split the player base, and I'm a little concerned of that, especially if they have a no portals game mode on top of this. How many ways are we splitting our traditional thing?
You're not wrong. I feel like in and of itself the BR idea was not bad. Implementation and how it all worked out did, obviously it just wasn't good.
Hmm.
It played good though towards the end,
Yeah.
especially at least for a
Uh,
casual player. I would say it wasn't a bad experience. There were things that needed to be fixed, of course, with the bots and a couple different things, but it wasn't in and of itself bad.
Hmm.
I think the
As a
game
whole, with everything combined, it just didn't work. It was never going to work with the rest of the game. And that's just I just don't see how it could have. You're
Yeah.
trying to attract two completely different worlds into
yeah.
one when you don't have the player base to support even one yet.
I think it
And that's kind of
has I think it has good ideas. I think it has a unique approach to the BR genre. But the issue is like I got to Splitgate to get away from BR. I didn't want to go back to BR, like at all. Fortnite was the death of BR for me when I switched from that to Splitgate. So the fact that they were just making it to be this big hyped up thing, I was like, bro, I don't want to touch anything about that. And it also just felt like a completely different game to me. It didn't feel like Splitgate. Splitgate I knew is the whole arena shooter slash takedown, etc. Right? And
Yeah, I definitely wish they would have focused more on
I
takedown in the end because I feel like it's such a unique and fun game mode to Splitgate.
Yeah.
I
Hot take, loadouts ruin takedown because
Oh,
hey, I
a
can have
hunch
a shotgun. Hey, I can have
have a
SMGs. There's no
rattler.
reason
Yeah.
to ever run a ranged weapon because there's no
There's
range.
no reason to put yourself in a risky position. You can just hug the outside of the map the whole time. Yeah,
I
you're
I
not
also
wrong.
think that the BR, as terms of like the performance end side, at least for me, was very buggy. It was
Oh,
not very
at first,
smooth.
yes. Yeah, it was
Uh,
very bad for a while.
I basically
Very bad.
I basically could never touch that BR game mode without suffering massive lag.
I'm
So
not sure when's the last time you
I couldn't
played it,
properly
but
enjoy it.
towards the end they definitely fixed a lot of that where it was still playable, but you'd have this problem where whenever you'd go from world to world, just your frames would drop completely.
Yeah,
And
I don't think I still don't think they fixed all the problems because so far, from my experience with Splitgate 2, is that there's some stuff that needs to be fixed in the game, but it
Mhm.
just hasn't. Like, Splitgate 2 has been standstill the past, like, 3 or so months. And
well,
there's,
Yeah, there's no more
they're
live service updates
yeah,
yeah.
there
currently,
hasn't been. They're waiting for the relaunch, it seems like, to do anything.
which is the right
Which
decision in my
is,
Yeah.
opinion.
well, it's a weird thought to me, though, because, like, I had devs in Discord state that, like, yeah, we may have fixed for this, we may have fixed for that, for certain things, but like, if there's already fixed, why not just put them in, right?
Well, because
Why would
they
you be there for relaunch then, right? You're gonna
yeah.
burn out on your fixes and all the new enjoyment. They don't need you here right now because nobody else is. They need you there on relaunch, and that is the day that
that
matters. If you
that
are done and you have experienced your value prior to
if
relaunch,
but my issue is that if you're not actively fixing your game, you're not actively adding anything for a while. I feel like the player base is just going to continually decline, and then it's going to be even harder time to get some of the player base back when you
this
do
is
do the relaunch.
not a matter of return. They expect you to leave right now, and I think they've
Yeah.
said as much.
Yeah, you can just look at the numbers of the game. It's obvious that people aren't going to stay and play with the state it's in,
Mhm.
and they're just kind of expecting people to play whatever until relaunch comes and give them another chance.
Yeah, that's what I've been basically doing myself.
I
All
would
I will
assume
say
another
that
advertising push or some
some
final,
sort, yeah,
yeah.
some sort of media push is going to come. My only hope is if they don't get the numbers that they are expecting off of that, that they don't just completely leave it to die at that point. That's my only hope. But I guess we can only wait to see at that point.
Jurgen, did you have any personal questions for Zach before I go back to my personal
Um,
questions?
I guess I have one final one. Just how do you hope that the rank system for Splitgate is going to look like on relaunch? What would your be
That's a good
ideal
one.
As
rank
close to
system to see?
Splitgate 1 as possible, man. Like, Splitgate 1 was competitive beauty.
Hmm.
Like, here's the thing. I consider the fact with competitors that they will always come in with malicious intent to optimize. I will
Yes.
optimize to the point where even if the game is the most unfun thing ever, that I can win as much as humanly possible. And Splitgate 1 did that by basically giving you no choice pregame. you had no ability other than your performance in game and the choices you made in game to you know, alter other people's experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, everybody is fundamentally playing the same game. We're not having different ideas of how we're going to approach it, which again happened a lot in Splitgate 2, where maybe I prefer this carbine playstyle and a more slow Halo-esque approach, as opposed to maybe I'm SMG shotgun in your face 24/7. We're fundamentally playing two games, and that can never be reconciled. You might win some fights, I might win some fights. It's going to feel shit for both of us because it's kind of like 50-50, and it depends on the map.
Yeah.
When everybody's playing the same game and everybody's provided the same resources and power weapon control is a thing and people aren't just throwing lives, we are so back. Like, I think I said this in their interview. This isn't like the most recent playtest is a game I would put another 1,000 hours into if we can get everybody back for pugs. And it's a step in the right direction. If we can straight up get as close to Splitgate 1 as possible, yeah, I'm back. 100%.
So basically what I'm hearing is rank should just be the classic arena mode. Even starts, pickups,
I could get
Maybe even
behind
remove
that.
attachments from pickups.
even
like-
remove attachments from pickup. I can get on board with that, honestly, because for ranked players, you're looking for that competitive environment, and you're only going to get that when you get as close to an even start as you possibly can.
shotguns.
No shotguns.
Yeah.
Unless
Scrap 'em entirely.
it's a power, we can just
Yeah,
make it
but
a
they don't-
power. Then
So when I compare Gravitas to everything else, it's like it's clear that the plow won't stand up to the Gravitas, but the plow is also better than everything else.
yeah,
It's in this weird in between where just get it out. And because we currently have on shotgun maps that have shotguns, we have 2 shotguns, 2 SMGs, 2 whatevers. You know, it's too much. Like go back to 1 SMG, 2 BRs, 2 ARs, you know, and whatever.
I still think the
No,
power.
I
I
can
still think
agree
the
with that.
shotgun should have been buff into a power weapon state instead, and not have it
but
as
now you have
primary.
+3 power weapons, and you know it's weird. It screws up the power weapon balance. And when you look at, because they're designed to be starting weapons, they don't have any of the gimmicks that they've really designed for all of the other weapons.
Yeah,
So they just are inherently out of place.
it's the equivalent of a mid-tier pickup for Halo. It's better than the base guns, but it's not good enough to be an actual power, and that's kind of where they're at.
It's a power. It's just a lame power, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't bring any
Yeah.
of the excitement, and the efficiency is limited to the top level of players who can execute on it. But it's just, it's not fun to play against. And honestly, using it is kind of unfun too at the limit.
Yeah.
And
And what's
it's
the
I can agree with that.
what's the point if it's not fun? You're right.
It's fun because it's strong, but it becomes the point of how well can I ruin your experience? It becomes malicious in its use.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it actually is, because it's one of those things where you don't pull it out until you see someone else pull it out, and then you pull it out, and you're like, okay, how bad can I make their day? Because that's just the
Yeah.
mindset you get in when you're using that gun.
So
As opposed to how good can I make mine, and that's just bad.
Yeah.
this is a question to us all. What are some things that you guys would add to Splitgate 2 if you had the ability to make the game better in your eyes?
I'll start, because there's one thing that I really want to see is just customs being actually customizable again. There's a lot of options. I
Yeah,
felt
the
like
custom
that
modes.
custom
Yeah.
modes and just game modes, and then that translate into the map editor side too, because there's certain systems that you need to put in place when you're making the map that will then affect the game mode that you're going to play. So I feel like having that extra level of customization in those to manipulate how things work is going to be important, because I just feel like where we are right now with it, you're just making maps for the basic modes. Maybe you can do like a parkour map or something like that, but there's not that creativity in the maps and modes that we're able to do, I feel like.
I
Zach?
actually agree 100%, and that is also why we need this, because we've had tournaments where you need to restart 5 games because the custom settings are bugged when you're changing them between modes. We've had like, and again, going back with making custom experiences where the mode is tied to the map, like there's so much cool stuff you can do
Yeah.
that new players or people who I want to try your map for the first time don't know how to set the mode in accordance with the map's vision, that
Yep.
they can just never experience it, and it massively diminishes the customs and map creator.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean that's my biggest one too, which is surprising from a competitive player.
Yeah, I was gonna
I-
say I wasn't expecting to hear that part from you, but it really ruined the whole map building experience for me because I didn't feel like I had the freedom to do creative things like I wanted to, you know?
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
I think we can all agree with that mindset for custom game modes, that they need to bring it back somehow. That was
You're
pretty big
lagging
for
out
me
a bit,
too.
Phoenix.
Huh?
You're lagging out a bit. I got
Yeah.
Oh, I
it
was.
looked like you were mid sneeze for about 20 seconds.
Oh, so I was just saying that like that's pretty big for like all of us, I feel. But
yeah, it
to add on to
affects
that,
everything, I feel like.
for a separate idea as that I also think that could be very nice for the game is just bring kill cams back, man. Like if I had the ability to do that,
Yeah.
bring kill cams back.
Kill cams is hard due to the networking thing. They're waiting for Iris on Unreal Engine Iris.
I know, but the
and
question
I have not seen any update on that project, and I highly doubt that's going to get done or is even being still worked on. So
the question is like if I had the ability to though, right?
yeah,
If you
I
had the
guess.
ability to, why not just
Yeah.
add kill cam?
Because that would also transition to a theater mode too, which would be huge. But
We have replays.
oh, we
but
do have replays, but
we do.
is there a theater mode to edit and do stuff like that?
Wait, where's replays at?
Oh no, spectate. Sorry, we don't have replays. We have
yeah.
spectate.
Okay, yeah.
Replays
My
are
bad.
definitely yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, that's another one
Uh,
that needs to come back at some point, if possible.
Yeah, because that's tied to the whole kill cam thing. The same reason
Yeah.
you can't see your kill cam is the same reason they can't do a theater mode. So
Right.
Indeed. And I mean, apparently it's because it's significantly more optimized than Unreal Engine's default like replay setting.
yeah,
So even if we added it, it would come at the cost of performance, which is probably not priority right now.
no.
Valorant
No.
was able to survive for multiple years without a replay system. We can do
I'm-
it too.
The
Unfortunately.
goal, honestly, is just getting the game to a point where it can survive, and then we can worry about stuff like that.
Exactly.
Okay, here's one. So, Zach, I know you're very big into Splitgate. I'm pretty big mainly for the map building side, right? And same with Yurgi. And so here's a question for y'all. If the game doesn't reach the numbers it needs for the game to continue development, like add more content and stuff, or it doesn't become popular, do you guys see yourselves to still have drive or interest to play the game?
It's to me, it's not about the popularity. It's about having the basic functions of a game I just want to play. Like I played this game before when there was only 300 people playing a week. You know?
Yeah.
I think I've said this myself too. Splitgate is kind of like the only FPS I care about going forward. If I can't play competitively, it is what it is. But like, I'm not swapping to anything else. If I play something, it will be Splitgate fundamentally.
I feel like
That's just the way I see it.
I feel like to me a big part of it is the community, right? So like, I feel like as long as there's people that like are interested to play the game with me, like for example, like the whole super customs thing, right? That's like another example where I not only I can just play with people I haven't met before, but people I've enjoyed playing the game with, right? So let's say like something like that just doesn't exist anymore, where like people don't really have interest, or like no one cares to see what a new custom map is like anymore. I think I could see myself like kind of like dip in interest after that. But as long as stuff like that keeps going, even doesn't matter how popular the game is, like I'll still be interested in it.
I can get with that.
Yeah. This is more of a Zach question.
I
What
think I have
does
time for like one more, by the way, just a heads up.
okay, we'll make this this last question about you then. So what does it take, you would say, like in your like own words, how to be like as skilled as you in shooters?
I didn't think I was skilled until recently, I guess. I just kind of screwed my way to the top, or fumbled my way to the top. I started at a point where people would threaten, Ritz would threaten to stab me if I lost a ranked game with him.
What the fuck?
You know, I was bad for quite a bit, but like it's just slowly acquiring skills, playing with a purpose, right?
Consistently, yeah.
Yeah, so if you don't play to improve and you play to have fun and you forget everything the second you leave, you're not going to iterate in any meaningful way. If you play every day and then look back, what did I do? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? How did it feel? I think is a very impactful thing, not only to do that action, but when that action occurred, how do I recreate that? Those are all big factors in getting up to that level. Also supplementing with other games to build skills that don't necessarily get hammered in with your game.
I feel
So-
like that for anything involving playing games, even for level design, don't shoehorn yourself into playing one genre of game because you can pick up different things from playing different games.
Everything has its own unique level of insight. Like
Mhm.
Overwatch will be team play, chemistry, and planning. You know, Quake is item control and foresight and consistency. Because when you lose those items, like player prediction as well, outside of visuals, knowing where somebody's rotating will turn the tides of a game.
Mhm.
So would you
Oh,
say like the grind wasn't exactly fun? It was just something that you just had drive to do?
I don't know. I had a great time. I was loading up and playing with my friends every day, and you know,
Yeah.
the peak stuff was I was playing with my friends in a competitive environment. So not only was the match quality peak, the social engagement was peak. You know, you couldn't get better, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
no,
And it
that
came
makes
with the
sense.
added benefit of I'm constantly iterating and refining my ability because I am playing the best competition available. You shouldn't limit yourself to necessarily people below you. It's kind of good to be the worst person in the room, but don't be worse by a margin that you can't overcome.
Yep.
You know,
Oh yeah.
always have something you can learn.
Yeah. I think that's a good spot to end at there though. It
Yeah,
was
man.
a lot of fun having you on.
A lot of fun being on, man.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And do we know when the next playtest is gonna be at all?
I wish. Probably
Okay.
next month, I would assume, given their
Next-
monthly schedule.
Yeah, it seems like they're doing monthly playtests, so we'll probably have one eventually next month.
Mhm.
My guess, because they've been teasing it, it's probably gonna be something related with another form of portal limiting or portal blocking or something, sorts of that way. So
I would hope so. The sooner they
hopefully
get
portal
that in and the
blocking.
more they can iterate on it, the better.
yeah,
Like my biggest concern with portal blocking is wasted dev time. Are we wasting a month on a concept that we know already from the beginning is not going to work?
mm-hmm.
Like that was my core takeaway. But I
Yeah.
think sooner we get in, test it, and iterate, better.
Hell yeah.
Alright.
Okay.
Alright.
Well,
I'll see
you
you guys
have a
around.
great night.
Yep.
Peace.
Peace out, guys.
See you guys.